If you have a restraining order hearing coming up, then whether you are planning to represent yourself or you have an attorney, this video is for you, because I'm going to be talking about the mindset that you need to have going in order to present your case effectively and get the judge on your side. My name is Veronica. I'm a restraining order defense attorney here in California, and I help people put their cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their futures. I'm also the creator of a course on how to win your restraining order hearing while representing yourself. And if that's something you're interested in, you can get your free first class via the link in the description box down below. Okay, so let's jump right in. Number one, you need to let go of whatever anger that you're feeling. If you were falsely accused by someone, or if you were abused or harassed or stalked by someone, you have some feelings about that, and you need to let go of that anger or frustration. Do what you need to do. If it's a DVRO and you need to get a new lover, go to therapy, go to one of those places where you smash a bunch of things. Whatever is going to help you let go of your anger so that when you show up on your hearing date and you see the other party and there's bad blood between the two of you, anger is not seeping out of your pores, because that is something I've seen so many times when I'm watching these restraining order hearings, watching for my client's case to be called. And it's something that I hear from my clients too. I talk to my clients, or maybe it's a potential client at the time, and they're explaining to me what happened in their case, and they're just so angry. And I know that before I can let them tell their story to the judge, before I can let them present their side, I need to make sure that when they talk about the case, they are not seething with anger. Number two, this is not a time for vindication, and you need to make sure that you absolutely understand that. This is the time for the judge to decide, if it's a domestic violence restraining order hearing, whether or not it is necessary to issue a restraining order to prevent the occurrence of future domestic violence. It's not about who was a bad girlfriend or bad boyfriend or bad husband or wife. It's not about who cheated. It's not about who took out the trash or took care of the dog or who paid for everything. That's not what this is about, and you're not going to get that kind of satisfaction from this restraining order. All that you can hope for is to, if you are the respondent, to get the whole thing dropped. All that you can hope for if you're the petitioner is that the restraining order will be granted. And yes, it does feel extremely good to win. And if you win, you may feel vindicated. But that's different than during the hearing, seeking to litigate your entire relationship in the hopes that this third party, the judge, looking at this, says, oh, okay, I'm on your side. The other side did everything wrong and you did everything right. Because that is not going to happen. And if you attempt to seek that, you're going to alienate the judge. The judge does not want to hear all of that. The judge does not have time to hear all of that. Number three, there's probably not a smoking gun. So unless you have, for example, video evidence, if you're the petitioner, showing that the respondent is abusing you, or unless the petitioner has been insistent on a very clear timeline and you have video evidence of you being someplace else. And by the way, they can always say, oops, I thought it was that day, maybe I was wrong, it was a different day that you abused me. You don't have a smoking gun. So most of this evidence that you're probably collecting right now is less important than you think it is. There are text messages where people are mean in almost every relationship at some point. There are text messages where people are loving even when they're being abused. So those types of things, yes, you can present them. Don't go overboard. Don't present a mountain of evidence, but the judge is only going to give you so much time. And more important, if you don't have a smoking gun, then your other evidence is probably going to be just how you come across to the judge. Because number four is that it all comes down to who the judge believes. The judge has a split second to make a decision. The way that you act, the faces that you make. If you are inconsistent in explaining your side of the story, that's really going to mess you up. And let's say that when it's your time to go up in front of the judge, you stomp up there angrily and you slam your evidence down on the table and you look over at the other party and you smirk, you've probably already lost. No matter what is in that evidence that you slam down onto the table. If you interrupt the judge, if you're interrupting the other party, if you're saying objection, that's a lie, you're probably going to lose. All right, and number five, I think that this is the most important thing and maybe the hardest one to do. Try to view this entire situation from the outside. And my recommendation to you that I recommend now to my clients, especially when they're having trouble with their mindset, is to go and watch some other hearings, because you're going to get to see how the judge sees these people from the outside. You're going to see the petitioner and the respondent, and you're not going to know who is right. You're not going to know who is wrong. You're not going to know until they present it what evidence they have. And even when they do present it, you're not going to know what evidence they wanted to present that they weren't able to present for whatever reason. Observe them. See what mistakes they make. If you've ever watched Judge Judy or one of those shows, you see from the judge's perspective, from the bench, what each party looks like, right? You have these two people in front of you. And you also see some of them will say something where you're cringing. But it's hard for them to see. And maybe, okay, they owe, in the case of Judge Judy, maybe they do owe the other party $500, but the other party was such a jerk to them or screwed them over in some other way that's not before the court, that they are so angry that the way that they are presenting that evidence, it's probably difficult for them to see. So I would encourage you to go to one of these hearings, ideally in the same courtroom that you're going to be in. And in most courtrooms, you can observe no problem. But ideally, go in and just watch everybody. It is entertaining. It's definitely entertaining. Just go watch and see what you think. See the mistakes that people make. I mean, I was at a restraining order hearing recently, just waiting for my case to be called, and the judge ordered these two people to go to mediation. They didn't want to. And the woman is stomping around saying this is so unfair. It was some sort of dispute between neighbors. She looked really bad. Now, she may have a good reason to be mad. She may have a good reason to not want to go to mediation. And yeah, when the judge tells her she has to go to mediation anyway, she may have a good reason for saying this is so unfair and having this little outburst in court. But from the outside, when we're all looking at both of them and when the judge is looking at you during your hearing, we only have the information that's been presented to us. And it's really important to try to gain that perspective. That's the most important thing, even when figuring out what evidence you're going to present. Gaining that perspective and seeing, okay, what would a third party who knows nothing about this whole situation, what would a third party think? And go from there. I hope that you found this video helpful. And look, if you are planning to represent yourself at your hearing, or even if you have an attorney and you're interested in learning more about this process, then I really encourage you to take the free first class in the course that I offer. It's called Defeat the DVRO. You can find it in the description box down below. You have literally nothing to lose. There's information even in that free first class that I don't offer on YouTube. And if you did find this video helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell.